Hi guys, Mrs. Neitzel. I miss seeing you. I was thinking since I was miss seeing you so much that I want to do a couple recordings of our read aloud for you. Remember we were reading The Thing About Georgie, and so I want to pick up where we left off in chapter 6, and I'll try and read to you a chapter a day until we finish it. I hope that you are enjoying your spring break. This is kind of a different one than what we're used to. So if you are finding something fun to do, go ahead and let me know what it is. Send me a message, send me a picture of what you're doing because I really miss seeing you all. The kids and I today went and we drove around and played travel bingo, so they had to look around different things we saw on the side of the road and things like that to play bingo. And maybe you are doing something fun like that. You can share, and the other boys will get to know what it is and keep busy this spring break. Hopefully the sun will come out soon and we'll get lots of time to play outside since we can't really go anywhere. So I hope you remember what was going on in the story with The Thing About Georgie. Remember, Georgie usually starts it with something in the chapter he wants you to do, and then he goes into the story. So let's get started. I think you better go grab a piece of paper. You can rip a page out of a notebook if you have one handy, or snag a piece of construction paper. You can even use a paper towel if you want to. You just need something to write on. Oh yeah, and a pen and a pencil might help too. Got everything? Okay. Here's what I need you to do. Figure out what your thing is and then write it down on that piece of paper. Yeah, your thing. So if you were Georgie, you'd write, the thing about me is I'm a dwarf. Or if you were Andy, you'd write, the thing about me is I'm Italian. Or if you were Russ, you'd write, the thing about me is I can make 11 free throws in a row. So whatever it is for you, write it down. All done? Good. Now, fold up your piece of paper and find a place to hide it where no one but you will know where it is. In your sock drawer, maybe. Or tape to the bottom of your desk. Or maybe even inside the shoe you're wearing right now. Just don't lose it and don't forget where it is. It's important. Georgie decided that if his parents were going to do something silly like have another kid, a kid who would probably end up as huge as Godzilla, he definitely was not going to spend his hard-earned dog-walking money to buy them a Christmas present. They were going to have to settle for a nice poem under the tree this year. Georgie sat himself down at the desk in his room, the one his parents had ordered out of a special catalog that was just his size and went perfectly with the short chair so his feet could touch the floor while he wrote. He ripped a piece of paper out of his school notebook and grabbed a pencil from his green soccer mug. Then he began to write. Merry Christmas, Mom and Dad. You're my parents, and I'm really glad. He crossed that out and tried again. Now it is Christmas time, so under the tree I'm putting a poem from you to me. Georgie crumpled the paper and hurled it across the room into the trash can. He ripped out a new page and sat very still, thinking hard, but nothing came. All he could think about was the baby Godzilla, growing up larger and larger inside his mom's belly. Last night, instead of practicing at her harp like she usually did, after dinner, Georgie's mom had settled down on the couch with a book. When Georgie asked her what she was reading, she showed him. It was a book about babies and all the stuff parents were supposed to do to get ready for them. It was a really big book. Look, Georgie, she said, pointing to all the illustrations in the book. This is what the baby looks like right now. It says here that the baby is only 6.5 inches tall. Isn't that amazing? Not really, Georgie thought, but all he'd said was, "Wow, cool." Now, on his fresh sheet of paper, Georgie began to write, but without thinking, he wrote about something that wasn't a poem at all. 6.5 inches. He pushed his chair back and, still holding his pencil, got up from his desk. Then he walked to his closet and pulled back the door. He kicked away the heap of clothes that had fallen off the hangers on the specially installed low bar, and moved the towering stack of old comic books to the side. Then he stared at the back of his closet wall. No one knew it, but long ago Georgie had glued a tape measure to the back wall of his closet. Every year on his birthday, Georgie marked how tall he was. And every year Georgie noticed that the marks were getting closer and closer together. Georgie was still growing, but barely. He stood against the wall, back straight, and as an arrow, and marked above his head with a pencil. Then he turned around and looked. 42 inches, same as before. Exactly the same. He hadn't grown a centimeter since August. Georgie gripped the pencil hard, and kneeling down, he drew another tiny mark, 6.5 inches up the wall. Then he stood back and stared at it. Not even born yet, and baby Godzilla was already gaining on him. Georgie shoved his clothes in front of the tape measure and slid his closet door shut with a thud. Then he stormed over his desk, snatched up the piece of paper, 6.5 inches, and chucked it in the trash can with his rotten poems. For Christmas, Georgie decided he was giving his parents cookies. All right, that's the end of chapter 6. We'll pick up at chapter 7 tomorrow. Bye. Miss you guys.